I vividly remember the advertising to Homefront, and I legitimately thought it was going to be the next big thing, and wanted to hop into it as soon as I could, but somehow I didn't touch it until I started my channel nearly 4 years ago. And I think some of it has to do with my lack of money, and also the lack of word of mouth after release. I think this is partially due to the lackluster story. While I think that the overall idea is fine, after all, they did bring in the Red Dawn screenwriter John Millis. The execution, however, is a little bit plain, especially compared to the likes of Call of Duty Black Ops, which had only been released 4 months prior. And I'm not just talking about the wild and crazy visual set pieces that Call of Duty has become famous for, as there is a surprising number of vivid scenes and moments throughout the game. But there's also a surprising lack of connection to characters and some of the things that are going on. I also think the freedom radio segments that play between the levels actually takes away from our character rather than reinforcing the weight of the situation or our immersion. Gunplay is also a bit lackluster. While I think the gun handling is okay, I don't like how the fully automatic weapons handle. They are a bit hard to control and burst properly. DMRs to supplement this accuracy issue are rarer than I would have liked, leaving you with the option of the fairly decent pistol, assuming that the mission allows it. I also like how the shotguns are handled, as they are decently accurate at mid-ranges, just like they are in real life, but I do think that the pump action is a bit slow, as is swapping between weapons. My biggest gripe with the gameplay, however, is Goliath, which is a semi-autonomous drone that you have to use to take out enemy vehicles. I find that using it is a little bit sloppy, and found that it constantly got in the middle of my view. I also found the campaign quite challenging on normal. While this may be due to my FPS rust, you're consistently outnumbered and outmaneuvered, yet participate in very bold frontal assaults, which historically doesn't bode well for resistance fighters. Visuals for Homefront has aged okay. While the foliage feels straight from the PlayStation 2, the characters, weapons, and environments look fairly average for a 7th generation game. It doesn't really stick out visually, nor does it really stick out in sound design either. The guns are okay, with the exception of the shotgun, which sounds woefully underpowered. Voice work is also decent, as is the soundtrack. Accessibility, however, isn't fantastic. It has 4 difficulties, and like I said, I did play on normal and died a surprising amount. There are also subtitles in the game, but no way to change either the written or spoken dialogue. Buttons can be remapped on mouse and keyboard. However, there is a strange controller compatibility issue, which only allows you to use the right analog stick on the horizontal axis unless you're zoomed in. But you can also fix it with Steam's controller input, so while it's an issue, at least we can fix it through external means. Homefront also struggles a bit with convenience. It's available on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and digitally on Steam. The menus are decent, however, I had a number of crashes and an extraordinarily difficult time getting it to run in the first place, which will likely get more complicated as this game ages, and will be a huge deterrent if you aren't as tech savvy. It's just important to remember that when you have an issue with a game, Steam discussions are generally a good place to find a solution. But again, it is a problem in the long run. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have all that much fun with this game. While it isn't a terrible game, it didn't really stand out from the crowd. Its story also didn't deliver the immersive experience that I would expect based on the advertising, nor did it really provide any weight or draw to the cast or issues that we experience. I also feel like the bugs that I experienced will turn away the average player, which I think earns it an avoid on the A scale. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Check out my last video on Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon, and consider subscribing. Till then, this has been Rob the Slob, and I'll see you in the virtual.